Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Dobie, and today I've got a music legend by the name of Ray Angry. You'll know him as a member of the seminal hip-hop band The Roots, and you get to see them as the house bands on The Tonight Show and Saturday Night Live every week and all that. He's an amazing producer, arranger, composer, and he is going back to his second roots, pardon the pun. This brother is putting together his first orchestral composition by the name of Black Power Athena with the Lexington Symphony Orchestra outside of Boston. Welcome, Ray. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's called Black Athena Power, man. I'm really excited about premiering this work next week. It's just like, whew. Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Wow. It's personal for me because my mother was a concert pianist. I don't make a lick of music, none. Just learned how to play the guitar at 59, right? So you doing your first orchestral piece, that's pretty special to me. I'm like, okay, take me home. I can't wait till it drops next week, man. Talk to me about the project.
Basically, I was during the pandemic. The tour manager for The Roots, his name is Keith McPhee. He called me up one day. He was like, "Hey, man, my brother is the conductor for the Lexington Symphony, and they're looking for, a composer to commission new work, and they want something different." And I told him about you, and I was really stunned, and I was like, "Okay." And so I met his brother. His name is Jonathan McPhee. He's really nice cat. Got my background. I played him some music that I had written. I'd written a piece on a couple interludes on the Roots album, Undone, and that was like, I guess, one of the first records where I was writing for a string quartet.
Okay.
So that's on that record, and I do this thing called Producer Mondays. Where I create a safe space for artists to create music together, and so the idea is to champion authenticity amongst artists, just so artists can have their own voice. And so I went in the studio and I did a whole record with this group of really creatives, and I wrote an aria and I played Jonathan that aria, and so he was, he went back to the board. And they really loved my music, and they gave me the opportunity to write my first orchestral work. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just, just kind of the music just came to me, through lots of studying. So that's how the people, yeah.
I gotta ask you, man, with all the sounds that you hear and songs that you play, create, are you still able to vibe out to music as a consumer? Can you just get on with music, or has that been ruined for you? Are you analyzing it all the time?
It's hard because I'm always working. So I never get a chance to really enjoy just listening to music. Sometimes I do when in between projects, but I'm trying to do that more often now, because I think it's important to sort of step away from something that you love so much,
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I could step away, I swear. I'm not bad as you. I only get about 200 songs a day, you know what I mean? To review. And I can't, there's no way I can listen to all of that. So I was just wondering, do you get a chance to just vibe out from time to time and not have to analyze it, just say, okay, this is something that's making me break my neck, or it's soothing my soul?
Definitely. I mean, I have my records my artists that I go to that give me that feeling for sure. Jay Dilla being one of them, for sure. Yeah, he cleans the palate.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this move back to your so this you did classical music early on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can we know a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was when I started out playing piano, I was, in arts programs studying. I had an incredible incredible piano teacher. His name was Frank Cooper, and he was the world expert on the music of Bach. So when I would go to my piano lessons, he had every harpsichord that was ever made in the world. So you walk into his house, it looked like a museum. He had forte pianos, and this is my first one of my first piano teachers in the classical sense, you know. And so yeah, I've been studying classical music ever since I was a kid. I was in New World School of the Arts. In high school, I was primarily a classical student there. I didn't start playing jazz until I got to college, when I saw other Black kids my age, you know, Chris Dave and Kevin Williams, a lot of the cats that I went to Howard University with. When I saw them playing jazz, I was like, oh my God, you know, because I was a classical major at Howard University.
Okay.
And in order to play jazz, I had to have a double major. So anyway, yeah, I've been playing classical music for a very long time.
Okay. How did you make the transition to hip hop though?
So that's a very good question. So when I got out of college, I went to New York City, and I was on the music scene. And this is around the time when jazz and hip hop were starting to meld together. So I was a part of this group called the Real Life Show, and every week they used to play at this place called the Izzy Bar, and you would have the top jazz musicians in the spot, and then the top MCs. So they would come through, and every week they would just have these jam sessions. And then that sort of became my introduction, so to speak, to hip hop. And then, you know, being in New York City, you know, you have to be versatile in order to work, because some gigs style of music might run its course, but you know, you have to be very versatile to live in New York to make it. So I just started working with different people, started meeting different producers, started working with Diddy, started working with Questlove, started working with you know, Dr. Dre, you know, playing with Snoop, and playing with you know, I did a song for Mobb Deep, you know, just, you know what I mean? Just being in New York, being on the scene, and just touring with different artists, playing with Michelle and Cello. So I had like an interesting path, because I came from the world of classical and jazz. When I was in college, I was strictly classical and jazz. And of course I played in church. So you know, to me, all of those elements are hip hop.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, because you have a lot of hip hop cats that sample classical music. You know what I mean? They find a little loops there or whatever. So I just think it was a natural transition for me, you know.
The first popular music that I heard mix anything was when they did A Touch of the Fifth. If you remember that pop song back in the 70s, it was they did Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, but it was rock. It was called a Touch of the Fifth or something.
Oh, I think I heard that.
Yeah. I was like, my mom plays that song. Wow.
Exactly.
Blew my mind as a kid, you know. And you know, I was like, okay, so talk to me about Black Athena Power. What are we going to hear? I've listened to the music that you've made. I did a little research, and everything is always so full of nuances and layers. And you know, I've always talked about timbre and intonation with the voice, right? But you do it with sound. You freak it.
Yeah.
So talk to me what we're going to experience, because I got goosebumps and shit. You know, to be waiting. Talk to me about it.
Man, so sonically, my piece is beginning part. So basically, the whole piece is an exploration of power throughout all of time. Okay. So a lot of times I feel like when we talk about Black history, we always start with slavery. So I wanted to go further back and go to the time when the Moors were conquering Europe. During a time, at 6 BC, when Egypt was the cradle of civilization, and everybody from around the world was going to Egypt to study. And you had the Greeks intermingling with the Egyptians, and you had all these different cultures sort of coming together. So I wanted to go back in history from a very non-biased point of view, and using the music as a catalyst to tell a story. So music to me is a universal language. So, and I tried to be as honest as I could. So I feel like the first part of the piece is very, very intense. You have like a power struggle, power dynamics happening. And so I feel like these melodies that you hear are the voices of the ancestors. That's the way I feel. I feel like you're hearing the voices of the ancestors, sort of crying out and just telling their story. And then as the movements progress, then you sort of see a light at the end of the tunnel, and because I wanted to write something that was at the same time truthful, but also hopeful and inspiring, because I feel like everything now is so divisive. It's the Republicans and the Democrats, you know what I mean? But everybody got to eat. It's the blacks and the whites, but everybody got to use the restroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of seeing like, wait, don't we all have the same? If we bleed, it's red. Everyone's blood is red, And so I just wanted to do something that's not divisive and create I tell you like my aunt told me when I was a little kid. My aunt prayed for me. She said, God, give him a music for the people. That's the prayers they used to pray over me when I was a little kid, when I could barely play, they just believed that I could do it one day. And so now I feel like this is what this piece is, a music for the people, but it's also uplifting Black excellence, which doesn't mean that other races can't be great as well. I feel like the piece represents the greatness of humanity, because out of destruction comes beauty. You know what I mean? And so, it's like yin and yang, opposites attract. It's like you got to know that, you got to know how fucked up it is in order to appreciate how good things are. So I just wanted to use the piece as I said, as something to really inspire humanity to like get it together and like cut it out, cut it out, like you don't have to racial profile me. Like, I'm going to school to study. Like,
Right.
leave me alone. You know what I mean?
Right.
And and there's so much misinformation out here, and a lot of kids don't even know that Blacks come from royalty. They don't know that.
They don't
They
know.
don't know that. They think we started with slavery, and I want to, let everybody know we know what time it is. It's like, cut it out. We're brilliant. We're brilliant, but human beings are brilliant as well. But we got to get it together.
Yeah, a lot of the history that we've been taught through. I mean, the fact that Black people, Africans, came up with the concept of zero in the first place, and taught mathematics and medicine. You know what I mean? These things are not shared throughout the school systems. And when we do speak out, we're usually assailed and assaulted as being, damn, I don't want to say this word, but we're assailed and assaulted as being totally pro-Black and against everybody else. I won't say the word anti-Semite but damn it, that's what they're calling us when we take credit for a lot of things. And it's not true. It's just that we shared history with so many cultures. They came to us for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and took it back and oftentimes made improvements and contributions in their portions of the world that benefited everybody. But like you said, we all bleed red. We all have thoughts. We all have hunger. We all got to poop. And we're just people. who
Yeah.
separated for a reason. God did that.
I think I think I think the most important thing is language.
Mm.
The
Mm.
use of language.
Yes.
Because you can say something and you can say something to one person and they might not get offended, but then you say the same thing to someone else, they might say, like, oh, I can't believe you just said that. So everyone's language, there's a you know, it's just dealing with language, and I think it's more or less about using language in a way that's helpful and hopeful. You know, I think there's a way. I think there's a way to anyway. That's what I'm doing with my piece. You know, I just
Right.
want to just sort of like say, hey, I adore every aspect of humanity, and here's the piece to show. Here's the proof. You know, to
Right.
show my. But it's essentially it's not coming from me. It's music. I feel is in your DNA. You know, it's like it. You know, it's like the truth. The truth never dies.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
so I just wanted to use the orchestra as a way to really tell a story that's hopeful, you know, but truthful at the same time.
It's a beautiful thing. Looking forward to it. Black Athena Power is coming out. Drops what on the 21st?
No, November 19th,
November 19th. So
Lexington, Massachusetts at Cary Hall, 7:30 p.m. Get your tickets now.
because it's gonna be a doozy.
Yeah.
I can't. I wish I was in Boston. I'm in Kansas City eating barbecue. So I
Okay.
can't get to Boston and get no beans. But I am excited for the drop. Look, you guys have been interviewed by everybody, their cat, uncle, and dog over the past 20, 30 years as a musician and making your mark. And as much as you contributed to the fabric of music around the board, is there a question that we in the media have yet to ask you that you've always wanted to address?
This is I feel like I'm a student for life. So I feel like I'm always learning, you know. I don't know, I don't have um a response for that other than, you know, I just want to always be a student and always want to inspire people. And that's pretty much that's where I'm coming from. You know, I want to bring, you know, my dream is to bring the world together through music, through creativity. You know, I really want to do that. That's my goal. Change the music industry, change the way artists view business, change the way, you know, businesses do, you know, business with artists. You know what I mean? And just really create the change that's needed. That's what I want to do. You know what I mean? And I want all my friends there with me as I'm doing it. And
That's
we all, you know, because I feel like there's enough there's enough resources for everybody to be good. You know what I
indeed.
mean? I don't feel
Yeah.
like it has to be like one person, because one person doesn't do everything by themselves. It takes a village. You know, it takes you're gonna need help. Not one person can do everything. Even Prince had help.
Yes.
You know, you
Indeed.
know what I mean?
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
he didn't need it, but then he changed a lot of people's lives, you know, and he had help to do that, you know.
Right. Right.
So
Your team's around. Okay. I'm going to respect your time. He's in the studio right now crafting the piece.
yeah.
We're not gonna name drop. We don't have to name drop. We got Ray Angry here. He is the man. He's composer, producer, arranger. He's got a very exciting, goosebump raising project coming out on the 19th of November called Black Athena Power. It is his debut orchestral piece. He's doing that with the Lexington Symphony Orchestra out of Boston, and then go check him out and get your tickets because it's going down next week.
Yeah.
Ray, anytime you need to chop it up about something, I'd love to have the opportunity to get back with you.
Yes,
Until
sir.
then, man, peace and blessings from the Hype Magazine.
Thank you, man.